Gary, have you been able to book events for the coming months?
No, look, the challenge we've got is every state is actually open and technically functional to run an event. But the reality is that with the current politics around borders, it now comes down to confidence. And so the position is that it's no longer a safety or security issue. We've demonstrated that we've got the protocols. The Australian population and the state governments, for that matter, have all shown how good we are at controlling and responding to COVID. But the reality is it now comes down to a very simple thing. Without borders being open, we don't have enough base in one state. So the borders need to be open, and we need to have some assurity that they're going to stay open so that we get the confidence, because it's now down to confidence.
And we're almost approaching the 12-month mark since the pandemic first began here in Australia. What has the level of consultation been like between the events industry and state governments?
Oh, look, it varies, and that's part of the problem, is that we're supposed to be one country and a national approach, but we don't. Each state has their own rules, their own interpretations, so we're constantly having to review and put in different applications for different states to run, and that's part of the problem. So for us to really come out of this, we need a national approach and a consistent approach, because there's no point having to reinvent each city with a different approach and different cost base.
And in terms of that certainty, can you break it down? What does the sector need now to survive?
It's pretty easy. The first point, there's 4 key points that we need. We need, first of all, the assurity of borders, because that really means confidence. You know, I think that is the biggest single issue at the moment, is that people are not going to commit to events when they're concerned they're going to go interstate and then get caught there or stranded there because all of a sudden someone snap closes the border. So we need a consistent approach to say, look, we're going to do this in a reasonable way. The second part to it is that we need the state governments to step up and have an approach to the industry that is the same, so that we're not having to reinvent and incur costs. We need each state to cover then the additional costs to run events. We've got additional things that we're going to have to wear, like a lot of businesses, but ours are actually far greater. So we need that to happen as well. And we sort of need to see how the states are going to support. We don't want to be in a situation where one state has a checkbook approach, where they buy events, if you like, at the expense of others. You know, the structure in Australia is very much a national structure, and we need to be able to operate in every state fairly and equally.
And are you worried about what the future of events look like? For example, right now, in terms of the Australian Open, we've got players coming here, quarantining for 14 days. Key players like Andy Murray can't come now as he has tested positive. When you're booking the key talents, booking the key artists, they can't come. Is this the future of events?
Well, I think, look, that certainly is a big issue. And I find it extraordinary that sport has been put ahead of business events. Our business events actually kickstart every economy in every state. So if you think about the buying and selling that happens at a trade show or a consumer show, for that matter, that it will stimulate the economy, that is far greater and lasts far longer than a one-off sporting activity. But it's being prioritised, and I just find that quite extraordinary. And to your point, we are coming up 12 months. There's a fundamental difference. You know, there's a lot of sectors, and it's not a, you know, one's more important than the other. But, you know, I hear the coverage where a cafe says they've been shut down or affected, but they've got a choice. They can do home delivery. They can do takeaway. We have been shut down by government. We've been told we cannot run, and we are now approaching 12 months of that. The people we've lost out of our industry is phenomenal. And I really fear we're at the tipping point now. We're not going to be at the tipping point in a month or two. We need to get going now, and we need some assurity. And it's about time that the federal government really call the states in order so that we can get on and do our bit to aid in the recovery of COVID.
Yeah, it's certainly been a very tough 12 months. Gary Fitz-Roy, thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.